Right, a little bit of context here. The learner is going towards Crossgates. They should have been moving over to this right hand lane, but they don't. So they enter the roundabout using this left hand lane. Now in this left hand lane you can go left straight, but what you cannot do from here is cut straight onto the inside lane from that outside lane, and that's what you can see has happened there. The rest of the positioning round the roundabout was fine, but if you enter on the left lane you must go to where it allows you to go. Now here the fault is to do with not going fast enough. There's the national speed limit sign, so 60 miles an hour. We'll bring that up on the screen. Have a look at the speed the car's going at. 45, 46 maximum. Now look at the weather. It's nice, dry, sunny. Look at the road. The road is good condition. It's nice and straight. You can see in the mirror there's a car at the back. They're being forced to do this speed as well. So because it takes such a long time for the speed of this car to get above, 45, 46, then it gets marked down as a serious fault. Maybe if that car at the back hadn't been there, it would have been more of a minor issue, but you'll see what happens here. As soon as the car gets round the bend, that other car's had enough, they're going past, therefore serious fault awarded. Now let's have a look at a couple of things here. 30 miles an hour, now there's the flashing 20 miles an hour zone. So the new speed limit is 20 miles an hour maximum up until you get past the school and past the next speed sign that tells you otherwise. So in this example here, we'll bring the speed of the car up onto the screen, and the fault here is getting above 20 miles an hour just before the actual 30 miles an hour sign. So here you go, speed's building, it's building. I had to get involved on this mock test and say, got to bring that speed back down. That is the 30 miles an hour sign on the right, just there. So it's very important that you don't speed up until you pass that sign. Right, we're coming into Tesco, Forward Bay Park. Look to the right, there's a couple of bays there. That's the ones that you should really have taken. Now, if you choose not to go into those easier bays, you're forced into whatever's left. And these particular bays on the Aberdour Road Tesco are not the easiest ones. You're coming in towards this wall, the parking sensors are going nuts. The space is just not available. They're quite small bays, these ones. The learner tries to make it a bit better by going backwards and forwards. Now the result that they end up with, I'll bring up onto the screen here. This is the picture that the car showed us. It's hanging out the back, as you can see, but that's partly because these bays are not very long. So I marked this as a minor fault. A, because it wasn't central inside the bay, like I would have loved to have seen it, but really it was a sort of planning issue of skipping past these really good bays, like these ones here that were available, and going for the ones that were not so easy. You've got to put a little bit of thought into which bay are going to be a little bit easier to get in and out of. Here is the positional fault. We're going ahead. This is the Lucas Kitchen mini roundabout. Ahead, second exit. Keep an eye on the front left part of the car. Right here, and that curb. Bounce. Now this deserves an instant replay. All that's happened here is they didn't go wide enough. Bounced right over that curb there. Just taking your eyes off the ball for 1 second and that's what can happen. Marked it as minor. Could very well be serious if circumstances were different. So here, the quick fit junction. The learner moves in to the centre of the junction at the right time. So they've done the right thing by waiting at the line here. Get the green light and they come on into the middle. Now the serious fault was for not making a move to exit the junction here. Now they've got time, the light goes amber, they're not moving, they should be going, they're not moving. I had to tell them to get a move on. this roundabout, they're going ahead second exit. Now they've got a good entry, but at this point here they start making a move over to the right and I had to grab the wheel to bring them back. So serious fault for me having to get involved and them going off track a bit. Now they handle the bends very well here. They come down in speed and the positions no problem. Same with this bend here. Come round at a decent, sensible speed, and then they start building their power here. However, there's an oncoming car. Watch this. I don't know how well you can tell. Let's do a wee bit of a replay there. They drift towards this car and I had to bring them back. Can't quite explain it. Let me know what you think happened there. That was a serious fault. It was that was a dangerous fault, and I imagine that other car got a bit of a fright there. Now, coming down to the junction, the Y junction, here's some drone footage that I've put on there. I'll link to it in the video description. You can watch that afterwards. Coming to the junction, turning left here, there's nothing to stop you going. You can just make your move. This learner waits and waits and waits and waits and waits. This should have been moving a lot earlier than that. Turning left here at the lights. The lights are green, full priority to go. The learner wasn't making that move, I had to assist them, and they were turning right at the next set of lights. Again, I had to get involved to give them this, so really just need to take a little bit more proactive action and planning ahead, especially with these busy junctions. Now the learner's turning left here, first exit. They come into the roundabout, mirror signal on, all good. The signal cancels itself accidentally. Now that's where we're going. There's a car that's looking over at us, waiting on us. They see us without a signal, so they're going to assume that we're going round. And we're not. We didn't reapply that signal. Therefore, we had a little bit of an effect on that person who was waiting. So if you've got a signal and it comes off, reapply it. So the learner's turning right on the roundabout third exit. Now the fault here was they signalled left to leave the roundabout there, fine. However, it was left on for quite a while without it being cancelled. And this next fault here, the learner's asked to turn left. Now they've got full priority because they're on a main road turning into a side road. They were just a little bit hesitant in making a move there. So not a massive problem, but really, if you've got people at the back, keep it moving. Now they had the same scenario here, turning left, full priority to turn, again just a little bit too hesitant when they had the priority. Right, interesting scenario here, following the signs for Dunfermline, so you can see there, needs to be a right turn. Now that's footage of a video that I've made. You can see the link to it, you can go and watch this later. This is drone footage of this exact roundabout, so if you get a chance, go and watch that, filmed from above. Going round to Dunfermline, at this point here, you have two options. You can go in either lane. The middle lane there that I've highlighted is best. However, the learner chooses this lane. Now you can see that they both say Dunfermline. The problem with this lane, the inner lane, the inside lane, is that when you follow this round, it will feed you off, it will spit you out of the roundabout on the inside lane, otherwise known as the overtaken lane. So just to be clear, at the moment, they're all right. The learner's fine. They've not done anything wrong yet. You can take any lane you want to go round. They're both marked for Dunfermline. Fill your boots. Try and mark it on the road here just to show the road markings are terrible, but it says Dunfermline D-line in both lanes. Now, here, in this inside lane, you can go into that lane for Dunfermline, which you should do. You could go into that middle lane, which would take you around towards the Sky building, or you could take this inside lane if you wanted to go further around the roundabout. What you cannot do is this. Yeah? Cut a solid white line Absolutely no access to do that. Cars at the back there, nope, definitely not. Now here, another fault, Dunfermline. There's a signpost over there, look, both lanes, Dunfermline, straight on. Now they are in this inside lane, they do have access to Dunfermline. However, they don't take the second exit. There's the first one, there's the second one, nope, they go round and they come off to the third exit. So that's a minor fault, that's not really a big deal going the wrong way, but crossing over that solid white line was a serious fault. Now I suspect that was maybe playing in this person's mind a little bit here, coming up to this roundabout turning left. If you have a look to the right, you'll see two cars. Now they're both not coming round to this direction, they're both leaving the roundabout there. And the learner takes a bit of time to get a move on and realise that they're not coming this way, so a bit of a hesitancy fault there. Alright, we've been coming into this car park, we're doing a reverse into a bay on the left. The learner gives it a good effort, but it ends up on the left side of the bay. In fact, it's over the left hand lane. You'll see that on the camera. This is the car's camera. The fact that you can't see that line on the left tells us that it wasn't in or on the lines. Now the learner didn't make any effort to take the car forward and fix it. They should have. They maybe would have managed to get it back inside the lines, and then it would have been a minor fault. Okay, so the learner driver is asked to take the road ahead, third exit. Now this lane, the inside lane, and the middle lane both go where they've been asked to go. Problem with this lane, as most people have experienced at some point, it would take them off on the right hand lane, the overtaking lane, which means they would have to manoeuvre back over to the normal driving lane. But here they take this lane instead of the lane to the left of this. So instead of being able to take the third exit, they end up coming around this way towards the fourth exit. Not a serious fault, because they did have permission, if you like. They did have access to come this way. So the learner's pulled up on the right hand side. The speed that they're going back at here is a little bit fast, and although you might not be able to tell, this car comes out at the back. It's not serious. Overall they remained in control and their observations were excellent throughout, so it's marked as a minor. Check this out. This is not how you go over a speed bump. No harm done, marked it as minor, would suggest just going over it normally. Right, now this is not the first time this has happened. In fact, there was a test recently, a mock test done, same thing. We're going ahead. This lane is for going left only. Now if the learner had went left here, it would have been fine. But there was a serious fault awarded because they went ahead in a lane that only lets them go left. So, here we are on this slip road, building speed up, looking to merge onto the dual carriageway. Now if you look in the mirror, there is a car who's right behind us. Now the learner doesn't signal right to move on to the road. It's been marked as a minor fault. I don't think there was any serious faults there. However, it's good advice just to put that signal on, let the car know that you're about to move. Now coming along the dual carriageway, or any road that is 40 miles an hour or above, the minimum distance that you must leave between yourself and the car in front is 2 seconds. Now if you look at the green van, it's level with the bin. Watch how long it takes for us to get to that same marker. It was less than 2 seconds. So on this occasion it was marked as a serious fault for being too close to the car in front. On a dry day, minimum of 2 seconds. On a wet day, double that. Now we're coming at the car park. The instruction is to reverse into a bay. The learner sets the car up to do a 90-degree reverse bay park. Now the fault here was that they didn't check over the right blind spot before they started moving. It was marked as a minor fault because there was nothing else round about the car. Very easily could have been marked as a serious fault had there been something round the car. That little picture that just flashed up on the screen was the car's camera, just showing that they were indeed inside the bay. Now they get asked to pull up on the left here, just a normal stop and move off again when they're ready. and I was really curious to see what sort of blind spot check they would do. Again, it was done, but it was weak this time. So you'll find that it's not long before they get asked to pull up again, and this happens quite a few times. And this is the way that an examiner is going to be checking. Is it a one-off mistake? Did you just forget it on one occasion? Maybe the rest of them might be good, strong final checks over the shoulder. Or is it an ongoing issue? In this case, you'll see with a few more move-offs, the blind spot wasn't checked correctly. Here's another occasion where they've been pulled up on the left. Move on when it's safe to do so. You won't be able to see this because I've not got any internal facing cameras, but the blind spot was missed on this occasion. It was missed, it wasn't weak, it was actually missed. Here we've got the same thing again, pull up on the left, move off when you're ready. Again, for some reason, although this learner knows they've got to do the blind spots for moving off, they were just not happening. Nothing marked as serious, although this is 4 now with a build up. Could very well be marked as an ongoing training issue, but every time it happened here there was no serious faults because there was nothing going on round about them. Now this is a left turn at the end of the road. It's the same fault we had earlier on. The left position was wide as they came out, and again, minor fault, no one else was impacted, but this is something that will need to be addressed with this individual learner to make sure that that's a tighter left position. Right, we're in at 20 miles an hour. The fault here is that the car goes up to about 24, which is too fast in a 20 zone. The speed bump actually brought the speed back down a little bit naturally, so if that speed bump hadn't been there, maybe they would have kept building the speed and maybe that would have been a serious fault. On this occasion it was marked as a minor. So now joining this road, current speed limit is 30. You can see in the distance it's going up to a 40, but not yet. And the car speed goes up too much, too soon. So we've got a serious fault for speeding, because you've got to wait until you're past the higher speed sign before you increase your speed. So we're going ahead here, taking the second exit. They manage this section of the road absolutely fine. They're joining it in the middle lane, taking the second exit, no problem. On approach to the next roundabout, they're asked to take the road ahead, second exit towards Dulwich Park. So they set up the car perfectly for this. They take the left hand lane, which gives you access to go first exit onto the motorway, which we don't want, and it also gives you access to Dulwich Park, leaving on the left hand lane, which is ideal. That's what they take. At the next roundabout, the instruction was to take the road ahead, second exit. Follow the road ahead, second exit. Now, watch what happens here. There's currently 2 lanes, and the left lane, the one that they're in, splits into 2. You'll see that on the road markings, and it gives access to the left or the middle lane. Now, I'm sure you've all worked out what's going wrong here. They take the left only lane to go into McDonald's, but they're not going to McDonald's. They've been asked to take the second exit. So they've went ahead, second exit, using a lane that has no access to do that, so they've got a serious fault for that one. Right, we're coming to the first fault of today. Now, obviously it was a minor fault because Irvin passed his test, and let's try and explain things here. So I'm going to freeze the video. Irvin has been asked to pull up on the left. However, there's a car that has given way to Irvin. Now, what Irvin doesn't do is he doesn't tell this car that he's going to be pulling up on the left. He pulls in without a signal. Once this car realises that he's doing that, they then make their way through. So the fault there was for not helping out the other car by giving a signal to let them know that they were pulling up on the left. Now, this is the emergency stop, and Irvin managed to manoeuvre. The advice the examiner gave, as well as a minor fault, was for not being as abrupt with the stop as they should have been, and just reminded them as an emergency stop. Now, I suspect the reason for this was when me and Irvin were practicing this manoeuvre, we both got a little bit of whiplash with Irvin's big old right foot. So, advice given to him was not bad, but just a little bit less of the neck injuries. On test it went the other way, but it wasn't drastic and it was a minor fault. Yeah, they're on the dual carriageway, they're heading through to Cowdenbeath, they're building up their speed and they're up at the speed limit. It's all good. Now look at the nice gap they've got between them and the car in front, but it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and they're getting too close. Now you've got to be on a dry day at least 2 seconds behind the car in front, and at this point I had to explain to them, we're getting too close, hold back a little bit. So that was the first fault, serious fault. Now we're coming in to pull up on the left to do the parallel park exercise. The fault here was when they start moving off, they forget to check over the right blind spot. Everywhere else was checked. It's just a one-off, but it's been marked as a fault. Nothing serious came of it, but really that should not be a fault that you forget to check. They're coming out onto the main road. Now, can I just point something out on the video here? There's a mini roundabout in front of us, and it's not easy to see on the road, but there is a sign there, and the learner doesn't see it, and that is where I have to put the emergency brakes on. Serious fault. Now I think because that felt a little bit dramatic, the instruction here was to turn left, and they ended up starting their left turn and they just got a little bit confused and muddled up, and they ended up going straight on. Nothing serious about going the wrong way there, but it just shows you that if you've done a fault, especially a serious fault, and your examiner has to take charge, chances are it's going to be quite difficult to continue on without losing concentration, but you've got to try. So use the signs round about you, don't just wait to see what the road markings are saying. If you see there's a sign for a mini roundabout, plan ahead, get checking the mirrors, and slow down in plenty of time. Now, we've got some speed faults here. Let's have a look. You can see that we're entering a 40 miles an hour zone. So, we'll put that up on the screen, top left. Now there's no real issues at all with speed coming around here, and we'll bring it up on the screen. So at the moment it's in green, it's all good, it's fine. Now at the top of the hill this goes into a 20 miles an hour zone. I'll try and highlight that on the screen. You can see the signs there on the road and on both sides. Now what happens is the pass through, I've paused it there, 26 mile an hour, but you're still in a 20 zone until you pass it. 26 in a 20 and slowing down after, you're going to get a serious fault for speeding. Now it didn't take that long to pick up another fault for the same sort of thing. At the moment we're in a 20 mile an hour zone. There's the limit up the top left, there's the speed of the car at the bottom, it's green, it's all fine. Look ahead, the speed limit's going to increase, and you can see that it's going to be going up towards 30 miles an hour, but you can't increase your speed until you've passed that sign. So let's freeze frame the video here. We're doing 25 miles an hour, we're still in a 20 until we pass the 30 sign. Another speeding fault. So let's just sum up here. If you're in a speed limit that's about to increase, so if you're allowed to go up to a faster speed, you've got to start building your speed when you're at least level with that sign or past it. The opposite's true if you're coming down to a lower speed sign. You've got to get the speed down to the new speed limit before you get to that speed sign. Now, you'll know how this works. At least once in every video, I'm going to do that YouTube thing that YouTubers do where they say, have you enjoyed this video? Has it been helpful? If so, maybe you could hit the like button, because that's really helpful to us in the YouTube algorithm. It helps the video be seen by more people, and that's what we're looking to do here, is build this channel. If you've not already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. Again, that helps us out, it doesn't cost you a thing. And share the video with your friends, tell them how awesome they are. Thanks guys. Now the learner is given the instruction to cross the roundabout, taking the third exit signposted for the A907. They take the correct position here on the right hand lane. As you can see on the road markings, A907 is available here and not in the left lane. And if you look up at the board, it's not easy to see, but it's exit number 3, Kincardine, Stirling, Crieff, A907. So far so good. Now as they make their way forward from this position, they've got a choice to make. They've got access to 2 lanes up there. They can take the middle lane and they can take the right hand lane. Now I would strongly advise taking the middle lane. However, what you're about to see is what happens if you don't. So this is taking the right version of what they've been asked to follow. So A907 is available in the middle lane and in this lane. But if you follow both of these paths round the roundabout and try and watch what happens when you come off in this lane versus what would have happened if you came off on the other option. I say this to my guys all the time: if you've got options, take the left option. It's not so much right and wrong, it's just easier and harder. So because they've chose the right version, you can see they're coming off in this right hand lane. Start looking at the mirror here. I'm going to bring up a yellow circle to show the area of the mirror at the back. Now you can see it's clear. Right now there's a chance to return to what we call the normal driving lane. Circle's yellow, it's clear. I'm going to make it red now because there's a car coming up the back. We can't move over just yet. There's another car coming. Now once this van passes us, circle's yellow again, it's clear at the back. We should be making a move to get back over to the normal driving position. They don't. There's no effort made at all. So they've picked up a fault here. It's a serious fault for driving in the overtaking lane. Normal driving in the overtaking lane. Ahead then, there's a mini roundabout and the instruction is to turn right, third exit. Now the learner starts to go onto the roundabout because they were looking left. That's where I put the brakes on. You'll see a car coming from the right, serious fault, looking in the wrong direction. Now we've got this rule that says that people should have priority to cross. Check out this. There's people, they want to cross. This learner did not give them a chance to cross. So they picked up a fault, minor fault, for not letting them go. Now here's my advice. You can't gesture to them. You can't wave them across. I think it's a stupid rule. But what you're expected to do is just give them a chance to cross by slowing down. Alright, here we go. We're coming up Townhill Roads. The speed limit is 30 maximum. The current speed of the car is shown on the screen at the moment. If you look into the side road on the right, you can see it's changing to 20. If you were going in there, that gives us a clue that we're on a 30 road. This learner kept the car at the 20 mark all the way up here. And they've picked up a serious fault here. You've got to make progress up towards the speed limit if it's safe to do so. I've got one minor fault awarded here for not signalling left. Not a huge problem, just worth doing it. That's it. Okay, so we can see that we want to take the second exit here. The first exit is not the one that you want. You don't want to be signalling left, you don't want to tell people that we're going to take the first exit. The second exit is further ahead, as shown with this arrow. Now the learner has a left signal on right now, which is wrong and it's misleading, but they take it off, they realise and they cancel it, so they get a minor fault, and then they quite correctly put it back on again there. Now then they're told Camdean. Now on the board there's 2 roundabouts. Camdean is a right turn, third exit using the first roundabout. So the learner correctly moves the car over to the right hand lane and approach to the roundabout. There's no issues with their mirrors, their signal, that's all fine. And their entry onto the roundabout, that's fine as well. There's a serious fault coming here. Now the pass exit 1, the passing exit 2, and they put the brakes on when they stopped to get a bit spooked, and they've picked a serious fault up there for that. Now, we're not sure why that happened. The learner wasn't 100%, just got a little bit confused, but they got a serious fault for stopping. No stopping on roundabouts. Normal stop on the left here, as the examiner has asked them to do that. And they get asked to move off again. This road has a 30 miles an hour limit. We know that. You can see a 20 sign there. If you were going into that side street, that's a 20. It's a 20 miles an hour on the left side road, but this main road is 30. Now let's bring the speed of the car on here. The learner is hovering round the 20 miles an hour mark. They seen a 20 sign and thought it was for this road. So they spend a lot of the time at 20 here. They go over the speed bump quite fast, so they've picked up a minor fault for that. And the serious fault is we're going too slow. So you can see the speed was consistently at 20 and a 30. Now what we've got here is a right turn, third exit. So we're going to have a look to the right here. I'll freeze the screen. If you look at this car, we know that that car is either going to leave the roundabout there or they're going to come round this way. They're not signalling, so it's unclear what they're doing. The learner tries to go and I had to put the brakes on. What they should have done was taken an extra second just to find out if that car was coming round or if they were leaving. That's all it took there. So serious fault for instructor putting the brake on. Now let's have a look up ahead. There's a green light that is about to change to amber. It changes now. If you look at how much road is left, there is plenty of time to stop. However, the learner decides to continue going through, and they told me afterwards that they thought it would be too much of a sudden break and there was a car at the back. But the advice was, if you see an amber light and you can stop, you should stop. Now with this one, they're turning right at the end of the road. This is what we call a closed junction. It's impossible really to see what's coming from the left or from the right. Now what happens is the learner has a little bit look to the right and decides to start going here, and as it turns out there was a red car coming and they just managed to get out of the way. The advice there would have been to creep and crawl, creep and peep the phrase, a little bit more non-committally until you can actually see properly on both sides of the road. Now have a look to your left. You're going to see a flashing temporary 20 sign. I'll put that up on the screen here. A little bit tricky this one. The sun was shining right in our faces. We were blinded by that sun. A couple of speed bumps, the speed was under control. But as the car starts to go down the hill, you can see the speed on the screen here starts to go up. It goes above the limit here, shown in red, and it gets all the way up to 24. Now at 24, the learner starts bringing the speed down, so they did notice and they did fix it, so it's not been marked as serious, but definitely something to keep an eye on, especially going down a hill, especially in a 20 miles an hour zone. So we're reversing the car into a parking bay. I've decided to put the timer on the screen. Now that's minutes and seconds. We're already approaching the first minute and the car's not halfway in yet. Now I tell people don't rush this, but at the same time I think it's about 2.5 minutes this whole thing takes. It probably should take a little bit less than that. So I'm not saying it's a serious fault for the amount of time it took. There was a minor fault because they had to go forward and fix it and come back, and I'll put a wee picture up on the screen to show you how it looked when they finished this manoeuvre. They managed to get the car in, although it's just a little bit squinty. So my advice is this: don't hang around, keep it moving quite smoothly and see if you can get the car centred without having to fix it. I haven't said that. If you need to fix it, fair enough, do the fix. Now we seem to be sitting here for quite a while waiting, but it is busy, it's a busy time of day. The learner didn't miss any chances, but the one that they did take, if you keep an eye on the centre mirror, as they start going, it was probably the wrong decision to go, because there was a Mini coming quite fast along the road, and in my opinion the Mini in the mirror has to slow down because of this. So on that basis that would be marked as a serious fault.